Hey guys, Zara here, and in today's video I am going to be doing the Ride or Die makeup tag. I haven't been tagged by anyone as far as I'm aware, but I've had a few requests from you guys to do this tag, so I am going to go and do it today. Now, I know Jaclyn Hill spoke through her favourite products, but I'm going to do a tutorial using my favourite products. Reason being, so you guys see how it goes and I can pretty much talk about it and remind myself why I love these products so much. So I'm just going to get a little bit pepped up on some Coca-Cola. It's a little bit flat. It was like half a can that had been sitting in the fridge, so could have been there for a few days. So we're going to start off with primer, and I actually struggled to pick a primer that is my Ride or Die primer. Reason being, I pretty much reach for a different one every single day. There are many that I really like, but none that I'm like, oh, when I finish that I would have to repurchase. All of them are definitely replaceable, I guess is what I'm saying. So to try and pick one, I thought about when I go for a night out, like just with friends, and like they're not, you know, super fussed about what products are on my face, and I just want to look really nice and feel really confident. Which primer do I reach for? And that would be the YSL Touche Eclat Blur Primer. Reason I always reach for this one is because it blurs imperfections. All these little gold reflects that you see help bounce the light off your face in a flattering manner. Aside from that, it's very silicone-y, so it definitely like smooths over my skin and makes it a lot more easier for foundation to kind of sit on my skin. Yeah. What is my hair doing? I can feel it. Ugh. My hair doesn't know where to part itself. It's quite frustrating. So I always just take like one or two pumps, rub it between my hands and smooth it over my skin. I feel like it helps to like push it in, just so it kind of fills in pores, any lines. And also a big plus is that I don't break out to this product, so yay. So next for foundation. This was definitely an interesting one. Whilst watching Jaclyn's video, I thought to myself, I know exactly which foundation is my Ride or Die foundation. But then when I opened my foundation drawer, I was actually like, ooh, I actually have like a couple of like favorites. Like if I wasn't such, I don't know, a YouTuber, a makeup collector, like if I didn't have such a big collection and I only had like 1, 2, maybe 3 foundations, I know which ones of those would be. But picking one out of them was so hard. I ended up going with the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. Reason being, I love wearing it to special nights out. I love wearing it in tutorials. I pretty much love this foundation for every day. If I wore makeup every day, this would be it. And it's fairly new, like it hasn't been in store for that long, and I'm actually already halfway through this bottle, so kind of shows how much I love it, because for me to finish a foundation when I own so many and love so many is like definitely like an obvious sign that I love it. And this is definitely foundation I'm always going to own. It's always going to be in my collection, and I'm always going to be repurchasing it as long as Too Faced make it. So I'm going to apply this with the Beauty Blender, which by far is my Ride or Die beauty tool, if you will. I am obsessed. You guys see me use this in every single video because I love beauty blenders so much. There are some mornings where I'm like, oh, I cannot be bothered to go and like wash it and use it. But then I just think to myself, you know what? It's going to be so much easier to do my makeup with a beauty blender. Let's just go wash it, get it nice and damp, and we'll all be happy. I don't know what it is about this foundation that I love so much. Like, when I actually initially bought it, it was on a whim. My colleague was buying something and I just went with her to Mecca, and I came out with this foundation. For a long time when it first came out, I thought the shade Caramel, which is the deepest shade they stock in Australia, was too light for me. But then it kind of lost a tan, like it was the middle of winter, my colleague went, I went and swatched it again, I was like, oh my gosh, it matches me right now. And so I picked it up and I love it. Like it's just, it gives me a nice medium coverage, which I like because I always go over with concealer anyway. It sits really nicely on my skin. It's not too thick or heavy, like I would definitely forget that I'm wearing it. And I know that if I used a foundation brush to apply it, I could definitely get that full coverage. I think I've used it in a video before, my strobing video. I'm pretty sure I used this foundation with a brush and I got the most flawless coverage out of it. Next I'm going to go in with a little bit of Corrector. You guys know that this is my favourite one because it's pretty much the only one I've ever used in videos, and that is the MAC Studio Conceal and Correct Duo. Now MAC do have this in a different formulation and it's more of like one of the solid pots, but I prefer this one. It's much more slippy and easier to work with. Now I'm just applying a very small amount because the concealer I have does brighten on its own. Like, I actually don't usually correct before using my Ride or Die concealer, but just for today I feel like I'm a little bit extra dark, I guess, so just going in with a little bit of my favourite corrector. I have recently purchased a few more correctors from different brands that have like released their own, so who knows, like I might like one of them more, but this is definitely the one I reach for at the moment. Alright, so Ride or Die concealer. For a long time it was the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, but for the last 2 years it is the Marc Jacobs Remarcable Full Cover Concealer in the shade 7 Bright. This is my second pot. I purchased this initially 2 years ago in Canada, and I pretty much purchased it again when I recently went to Canada a couple months ago. So I know the pot lasts me 2 months, I guess, because I don't use this one every single day. Obviously I try and change it up for you guys, but 90% of the time I do tend to use this one. Because like I said, I don't really need a corrector underneath this. This one brightens, corrects, does everything I need it to do, and I can get it on really quickly with a beauty blender. So super happy with this concealer, and I hope Marc Jacobs keeps making it because I will keep buying it. I will also take a little bit of this concealer down the center of my face, around my nose, around my mouth, pretty much everywhere. I will also take this over my acne scarring on my cheeks, hence pretty much everywhere. What was I going to say? Now I could use a dense brush and like, what's the word? Like point conceal? Oh, the word escapes me right now, but go over each blemish like really specifically, but I don't mind my blemishes showing through a tiny bit. Like, I think it would look really weird if I went from like heaps of acne to super flawless. Like, it just feels super duper unnatural, says the girl putting on makeup, to me. But yeah, anyway, we'll move on. You guys know what I'm going to do next. If you've been watching me, I am now going to bake, and let me just sort myself out here. I recently have a new setup and not a lot of desk room in the new setup, so still trying to figure things out. So next I'm going to bake using the Nye Banana Powder. I love this powder so much for baking. I dropped the lid. It's rolling away. Oh my god. Okay, that's gonna stay over there. I friggin' love this powder so much. I've tried baking with other powders and they just don't have the same effect that this one does, really. I don't know if it's the yellow undertone or what, but this one just does it for me. Now I also love baking because it helps prevent creasing for me. Alrighty. I don't know what it is about the Banana Powder that just, I don't know, it has a finish that I absolutely love. I don't know if it's the way it's been milled or the tone of it or what, to be honest, but I freaking love it. It was actually my first time buying it when I purchased this big bottle in London, because I was like, you know what, I'm gonna buy it once and hopefully never have to buy it again, and I fell in love with it. I thought to myself, if I didn't like it, it'll probably be easy enough to resell, but yeah, this is like a year's use and I've only used like 1/6 of the bottle, so it's gonna last me another 5 years. Now this powder is my favourite powder. I took it to Europe with me. It was the only powder I had. Like, that's how much I love it, that I trusted it to work for me when I was tan, when I was in the sun, when I was, actually no, I don't really swim that much, but I freaking love this powder. This is the MAC Mineralize Skinfinish Natural in Medium Deep. It looks like this. This is the new packaging. It's not that new, it's like maybe a year old now, but I finally finished my older one and obviously repurchased and got this one. Again, I don't know what it is, like, but it's a perfect shade for me. I love how fine it is. It sits so nicely on my skin. Freaking, it's just the best. It's just the best. I love it so much. So I'm just gonna use this on the rest of my face right now. My like first makeup product was the loose version of this, which I really loved, but it was just hard to use and hard to like take around with you. So once I finished the loose one, I went out and got the compact version, which I saw a lot more people using on YouTube at the time. Alrighty, whilst my under eyes continue to bake, I am going to fill in my eyebrows. So these two products are bloody new, like super new, but I already know that they're my favourite. They are two products from the new Benefit range. I do like the Anastasia versions of these products, but I feel like these two are just easier to use and more wearable, which I'll explain in a second. So I love the Benefit Goof Proof Brow Pencil. This has an angular tip, similar to one of my first brow products, the Hourglass Arch, which I still have. I love the shade. This is shade 6 and it just suits me perfectly. And again, like that angular tip, obviously similar to the new Anastasia Brow Definer, which I do also have, but I found that the Anastasia one is a little bit too fat, like it's quite massive. Whereas this one, like the angular tip, I don't know, it's just a little bit more petite and easy to use, and I don't mess up when I use this. And then the Benefit Ready Set Brow Gel. This is a clear brow gel. I prefer this over the Anastasia Clear Brow Gel, which used to be my favourite, because the Anastasia one, it does set your eyebrows rock hard, and sometimes it can be uncomfortable if you're very expressive, because you can feel it. You can feel that your eyebrows can't move. Whereas this one holds my brows for a bloody long time, and the brush actually has two different ends, so one has shorter bristles, one has longer. So the longer one deposits more product, and the short ones I love to like comb the hairs in the direction that I want them to go. Whereas the Anastasia one was just, I think the formulation of the gel was too heavy, and so it weighed down my brows, so it was a bit harder to stick a few up, because I can work my brows in different ways. I can have feathered brows, I can have full brows. I can't quite get Instagram brows, but hopefully we'll figure that out eventually. So yeah, that's why I prefer this one over that one, and why this one will pretty much always be in my collection. And now setting with the Benefit Ready Set Brow. So I'm not sure if you can see, so the top has longer bristles than the bottom. So I'm first going to go in with the top bristles just to deposit a bunch of the product. And then going in with the short ones just to kind of control which way my hairs are going to go. See how like the inner ones kind of stand up? My Anastasia brow gel didn't really do that for me. Alrighty, so I'm going to finish off my complexion with contour, blush, highlighter to show you my favourites there. Then we'll move on to eyes. So for contour, I adore the Chanel Le Beige powder in number 50. I originally bought this as a face powder. In the store it looked like it was my shade and everything, and then when I left I realised it was too dark. Now I could have gone and returned it, but then I realised it's quite a neutral cool tone, so why not try it as a contour? And I actually fell in love with it. Whilst it's probably a product, I don't know if I would necessarily repurchase it, it's definitely what I reach for. Like I have so many contour purposed products that have been specifically created to contour your face, but I reach for this face powder just because I like the way it sits, I like the way it smells because it smells like roses. Yeah, I don't know, I just like it so much more. Like, I don't know, it just creates a really natural shadow. Like I can't even see it in person, but you can see it on camera. Alright, moving on to blush, I'm going to go in with MAC's Warm Soul. I love this blush. I bought it on a whim at one of those stores in an American outlet that sells like, what do you call it, discontinued like Estee Lauder products. I can't remember what it's called now, but I picked it up there because it's in the old packaging, but I love it. I love it for every day. I love it for work. But I also just love it for nights out. I think it's just a really gorgeous shade on any skin tone, really. My best friend loves using this as well when we're getting ready together. Highlighter. Now, I love Champagne Pop. I, won't deny that, but it can be too much some days. Whereas Laura Mercier Indiscretion, I love. I feel like I can't go over the top with it. I think it's really nice for days at work. yeah, I just feel like, you know, similar to the blush, I just can't go wrong with it. So now we're going to move on to eyes. Now, I have to apologise in advance. I am going to use a product that I'm fairly sure is no longer available, but I love it so much that I feel like it's something that I have to mention. There was no other eyeshadow palette that I thought, I reach this so much, it's so justified, more than this one, so it's got to have a mention. So the eyeshadow palette that is my absolute ride or die is the Stila in the Light palette. Like I said, I have no idea if they still sell this because I know Stila's come out with like a few other eyeshadow palette ranges since, but I know that this was a favourite, you know, a couple of years ago, and you can see why. It's pretty much all the shades you would ever need for anyone that just dabbles in makeup. I'm first going to go in with maybe a mix of Bliss and Sandstone as my transition shade. I think the only reason this palette wouldn't be as popular now is because the shades are all quite neutral, like they aren't those super warm browns that everyone's really into at the moment. So alrighty, so now for all over the lid I'm going to go in with Sunset, which is that shade that I absolutely adore. Oh, it's such a nice shade. Now I'm going to grab a little bit of Gilded Gold and just apply that to my outer V. I don't repeat like eye makeup looks very often. Actually, I don't really recreate and like I don't wear the same makeup look like every day for a week or anything like that. Like I'm constantly changing it up. But this look is something I used to rock so much. Like every time I had a special event, because obviously when I bought this, like my makeup collection was a lot smaller. Oh, I just loved it so much. And now I'm going to grab a little bit of Ebony just on the tip of this fluffy brush just to help kind of deepen up that outer corner a little bit. And while I'm here, I'm just going to grab a little bit of Gilded Gold and pinch this brush and just smoke out my lower lash line. Alright, I'm just going to take this bare shade here for underneath my brow bone. And I'm going to take a little bit of Kitten, which is an absolute cult product for Stila, on a tiny brush and just apply that to my inner corners. Okay, so black eyeliner. A very big product for any Indian girl out there. We all love a little bit of black kajal in our lower waterline. My favourite is the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Pencil in the shade 0. The reason I love this one is that it is super black. It sets quickly, but if you want to smudge it out you can very quickly. But it doesn't transfer once it's set, and that is what I like the most about it. This is the Bobbi Brown Longwear Gel Eyeliner in shade 1 Black Ink. It's not as slippy and slidey as the other ones I have. Like I've got the Sigma one, Inglot, all those guys, but I feel like those ones don't set as quickly. And this one, it's definitely a drier formula, I guess is the best way to describe it, which means that when you draw the line, like that is the line. It will not move from where you have just drawn that line. And that is my favourite part about it. It is the first one I ever owned, so obviously I've kept trying other ones, but this is just the one that I keep going back to. So favourite mascara, hands down, is the Benefit Roller Lash Mascara. It grips at every single lash, coats them perfectly, separates them, lengthens them. I'm not massively into volume, so it's probably why I really like this mascara. Although it does add a little bit of volume because obviously it coats each lash, but I think it's more about length, and that is what I love about it. Okay, so my camera cut off and I didn't realise, and I just kind of sat here and waited for all my footage to import so I could see where it cut off. So you guys last saw me rave about the Benefit Roller Lash Mascara. I then actually put some falsies on. These are the Velour Lash in City lashes, and they are my favourite. They're the only lashes I've ever repurchased for myself, and I've actually been wearing them for like 2-3 years now, because I remember the first time I ever wore them was a night out in Auckland, and I was like, I've got to wear these lashes, they're brand new, I lugged them all the way from Sydney. So I like sat there and trimmed them and glued them on, and they took 2 seconds to put on, and they've been my favourite ever since. My ride or dye lip pencil is the MAC Hover Lip Pencil. This is like a Whirl for my skin tone. I adore it so much. It's like this much shorter than all my other MAC pencils because it's the one I always reach for and always use. I've tried Whirl, I've tried Soar. This is my absolute favourite and I would recommend it for anyone with a deeper skin tone looking for that kind of mauvey shade in a lip pencil. I just really love this shade. And over the top, my absolute favourite lipstick. Now, I know this is my favourite lipstick because I thought I lost it for the last few weeks. I've been looking for it. I eventually found it in one of my handbags, but I actually went online and I was about to repurchase it. I love it that much. And like, I own a lot of lipstick. I own heaps of lipstick, but this is a shade that I just couldn't live without it. So yeah, it's the MAC Whirl lipstick. It's a matte finish. And I just love it. It's such a nice shade. It's something I always gravitate towards. It's really easy to put on. I love a matte finish. I don't even know what else to say. It's definitely a ride or die, definitely something I'll always be wearing as long as MAC makes it. I will be wearing it. So that's pretty much everything. The last, I guess, ride or die product that I wanted to mention is what I use most days to finish off my makeup. Now don't get me wrong, I do love the Urban Decay setting spray range, but I think MAC's Fix Plus does a lot more for me. I think it's because I bake my skin that there's obviously a lot of powder on my face right now, and this just helps refreshen it, look less powdery, and just look really natural. So I have like 5 backups of these. I have the one of the scented ones. They came out with a collection of a bunch of scents. This is the Yuzu one, and that's why I have so many backups, because I bought like every scent. I love it that much. So and it's so refreshing. And obviously, like, I can use it to redampen my beauty blender, I can use it to get more pigment out of eyeshadows. Like, there's obviously a lot of uses for it, and it's definitely my favourite setting spray, prep spray, makeup spray in general. So that is it for my ride or die makeup tutorial tag video. I want to tag Katarina Beauty Blog if you haven't already done it, Nakia Joy, and who else could I tag? Steph Bailey. You 3 girls get on it. I want to see your absolute favourite of favourite products. And for all you guys out there, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, be sure to click that subscribe button if you like my video, so you see all of them as they get uploaded. And I will pretty much see you guys in the next one. I don't think I have anything else to say. No, I don't. Alright, bye!